Greetings and welcome. Welcome to Pieces of the Puzzle. Man, it's been a long time. Um, Almost over 2 years, close to 3 years. But I want to welcome everybody back, and I just want to, I hope everybody's in good spirits today. I felt like I really needed to come on here and do another video. I've never stopped researching, and I've never stopped reading other people's research and being concerned and interested in everything Prince. Um, but there are some things that I want to point out since the last video. And I know that the position that I take is that I believe Prince faked his death. I believe he had to fake his death. And all of the investigation and all of the confusion just is a distraction. It makes people believe that he is dead. And they have a reason for that. It's a whole agenda behind it. But I don't want to get into that right now. The one thing I want to talk about at this time is something that came up recently in one of the groups that I follow in Facebook. This group was concentrating on the purpose of Cornfield, Dr. Cornfield, and his visit to, or the reason why he sent his son out to Chan Hansen to try and help Prince. And it just seems like the whole his whole rationale, the whole reason why Cornfield visited or was sent out there has absolutely nothing to do with Prince having an addiction and needing him to come out for any help with an addiction. I just want to say that it made no sense to call for someone that far away. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on things that everybody already knows, but it made no sense at all to send for someone that far away, all the way out to Mill Valley, California, to come out to Chan Hansen to help him with the drug addiction when we have their drug specialist right there in Minnesota, and he could have gotten the help that he needed right there. And if he wanted to keep it a secret, they said that he was so secretive about anything that was happening to him, then it also makes even less sense that they will bring in another person or more people into this. If Prince had a drug addiction and the only people knew that he had one would be Dr. Schellenberg and Kirk Johnson, then, and maybe Marone, it certainly wouldn't make any sense to try and keep it a secret by telling more people. They say that they contacted Phaedra Lampkin Ellis, and she hooked him up with Dr. Cornfield, and Dr. Cornfield couldn't make it. He couldn't clear his schedule, so he sent his son. And his son was supposed to be delivering, let's see, what drug was that? Some prescriptions called buprenorphine. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And another one, Suboxone. And these two types of prescriptions were supposed to be able to help Prince with an addiction, opioid addiction. Well, I look at that and it makes no sense because, and as I have to say that I go ahead and speak my mind about what makes sense to me and what doesn't make sense to me, because I consider myself a conspiracy theorist, or a theorist, or a critical thinker. But whatever, I am not the type of person that would just throw information at you and call it facts and leave it up to you to figure it out. I am going to draw on my own references and other people's references in what I talk about. And what I determined, and from my theory, I theorized that it made no sense for them to send Andrew Cornfield for the purpose of delivering drugs or a prescription or controlled substances to Prince. First of all, neither Dr. Howard Cornfield or Andrew Cornfield had a prescription, had a license to practice medicine in Minnesota. They had a license, or the doctor, Howard Cornfield, he had a license to practice medicine in California and maybe some other places, but not in Minnesota. So he was out of line to even think he was going to go there. Someone said they found an article where he said he was going to go there on the 22nd. He couldn't make it on the 21st, but he was planning to go there. Well, once again, he shouldn't have been planning to go anywhere because he didn't have a license to go. He didn't have a license to practice there. And it certainly doesn't make sense for him to send his son there because his son is not a doctor. Now, as a theorist, I'm not asking anybody to believe anything that I'm saying, but I do ask people to at least think about what I'm saying or think about what you find. Drawing from experience, Dr. Howard Cornfield raised his son, Andrew Cornfield, and he probably did a pretty good job. His son is majoring in psychology. His son was in the middle of majoring in neuroscience. He was going to become a neurologist. Those are no light and fluffy subjects. So he's doing a fine job as a father, and Andrew's doing a fine job as a son, becoming a very intelligent man and working towards some very important skills and subjects. Okay, he's going to be a doctor, either one of those fields. He could become a doctor or a scientist in either one of those fields. You don't put your child in harm's way. You don't put your child on a plane. I mean, I'm just theorizing now. This is what I do. You just don't put your child on a plane with a controlled substance and fly him across 5 state lines to make a delivery. If Howard Cornfield, the father, wanted Andrew to do anything, he probably would have just had him take the prescription to maybe the local FedEx office and have him send the prescription overnight, Federal Express. It would have got there in about 8 hours. He could have sent it straight to Dr. Schellenberg, or he could have sent the prescription straight to Paisley Park for in care of Kirk Johnson or in care of Prince. But he certainly would not have to put his son on a plane. You know, you get your kid halfway through college and you're going to put him on a plane with the control. You put him in harm's way like that? No. And I know I'm certainly not of the privileged group, but I don't think even people that are privileged in this country take chances like that. That's not logical. Now, I'm not saying he didn't do it. He got on the plane, he went there. But he got on the plane, he went there for a whole different agenda. He had something else to do other than just take drugs to Prince. All right, because he had other skills. He was a photographer. He was a technologically advanced person, and like I said, he was studying neuroscience and psychology. Now, I want you to think very closely about those last two things, because he certainly wasn't there to just make a delivery. Okay, that's nonsense. And then, when he got there, of course, now this is something Vanessa just, she was reading the investigation not too long ago, and she was talking about how there was a lady at the hotel said that he had signed in, but she don't remember seeing him. I don't believe he stayed at the hotel. I believe he was at Paisley Park. But that's just me. That's my theory. I'll get into that later. But, yeah, he was there, all right. But he wasn't there to make a delivery. Another thing that was awfully strange is that when the morning of April 21st, when they couldn't find Prince. They say the staff ran around and looked for Prince. Now, in the previous video, at that time, I was of the assumption, because of what I read, that Cornfield had joined in the search. But later, it is revealed that he didn't join in the search, but that the staff ran around looking for Prince, which still doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for the staff to run around the house, run around Paisley Park looking for Prince, just because Prince didn't come to the bedroom door and let him in or anything. Or just because they didn't know where he was. It would make more sense for them to assume that he wasn't at home, at least for a couple of hours. You see, this whole thing is scripted. I wrote it in my book that it was all, that it's a lot of staging that went on. And I think a lot of people are beginning to see the staging. Okay, you know, even the Moline incident, it was staged. Now, at the time when I wrote it in my book that it was staged, I didn't have near the information that has come out since then, you know. But that was even staged, you know. You could read the investigation, and they will gaslight you all the way up until the time when they should actually be able to confirm whether a plane landed or not. And they will not actually make a confirmation as to whether or not a plane actually landed. Staging and gaslighting. Making people spend hours and hours and hours of time poring over investigations and reading and trying to find something. And you know they lying. It's sad. That's criminal right there. If there's anything criminal about this thing, that is the investigation. That and all of the lies and confusion that it has made, that's criminal. But faking your death is not. It's not a crime to fake it. It's not a crime to fake it. It's just not. A lot of fraud behind it. All the fraud that goes into covering up that is more criminal. But after all this time, you know, the statute of limitation has run out on even it. So, you know, let's get back to Cornfield again. You know, now they say that when they found Prince in the elevator, which is an odd place for him to accidentally die. Well, it's an odd place for somebody to leave him if they killed him too, right? Let me touch on that for a second before I go back to Cornfield. You know, I just want to say for a minute that if Prince had taken that much fentanyl, he probably would not have taken it in the elevator. Unless they found a glass of water laying on the floor in the elevator, he probably wouldn't have taken it in the elevator. And if he had taken the fentanyl in his bedroom or in his bathroom someplace, he probably would not have made it to the elevator because it was so much that had been found or supposedly found in his body. So that doesn't make sense for him to be found in the elevator. If Kirk Johnson or anybody else killed Prince, they certainly would not have left his body in an odd place. Now I watch enough crime programs on TV, and I have a mentality enough to know that if I was going to kill somebody, I would make it look like they died in a normal place. You know, I wouldn't kill them someplace and then put them in an odd place. That you don't do that. If you're gonna kill somebody, you lay the body down by the bed or by a nightstand with a glass of water over there. You know. If you're gonna kill somebody, you lay the body in the bathroom by the sink or something. You know, someplace normal. You don't take the body and lay it in the elevator where it's all odd and peculiar. That's not how people function. Excuse me. Excuse me. That's not how people do things. That's not how you kill somebody. And see, I can laugh because, see, I know Prince not dead, first of all. I know some people might think that I'm morbid, but I'm not morbid. I don't think he's dead. He's not dead. So you have to excuse me if my sense of humor seems a little off key, but he's not dead, and that's not where you leave people. When you kill somebody, you don't put them in a weird place. Okay? You don't. And he would not have made it to the, I don't care how close, I don't care how far away he was, as much fentanyl as he was supposed to have taken, he never would have made it there. Okay, that's nonsense. The accidental overdose is nonsense. And the fact that somebody would kill him and put him in an elevator, that's nonsense. And getting back to Cornfield, it's nonsense that they would look for him. They wouldn't look for him. They would just naturally assume he wasn't home. And Cornfield, he wouldn't have been the one to call 911. No, they got it set up so that he's the one to call 911 so he can get off with the Good Samaritan law. See, Cornfield's reason for being there had been pre-planned, and his daddy, the doctor, was probably assured that nothing was going to ever happen to Sonny Boy, okay? Nothing was going to happen to his son in carrying out this mission. And he had a mission, but it was not to make a delivery. Come on, people. It wasn't to make a delivery. That's so silly. That's so silly. Dr. Howard Cornfield could have called Schellenberg and told Schellenberg the name of the prescriptions, and Schellenberg could have called Walgreens or sent a prescription into Walgreens and had them fill it. He didn't have to put his son on a plane. That's so silly. Or Howard Cornfield might have been able to fill the prescription, have the prescription filled by Walgreens. And all Kirk has to do is go to Walgreens, pick it up for Prince. And if there's some procedure as to how to administer the drug, then it could have been done on the phone. You call him and say, no, you make sure he only takes a half a tablet and see how he works with it and see how it works in his system, if he's okay. And you monitor him closely, and but you don't send your son on a plane with a controlled substance to do jack diddly. That's not the way it's done in the real world. He was there because he had his own skills. He had his own thing that he had to do. And yes, it did involve having him laying in the elevator. And yes, it did involve him laying there in black with his clothes inside out and backwards, however way they were. It had to do with that kind of stuff. But it had nothing to do with delivering drugs or meds. I don't know. Let's see. I've been at this for 19 minutes. So I'm going to let this go right now because I'm going to come back in real soon. I'd like to hear your comments. I hope this, like I said before, I hope this doesn't anger anyone. For those people that have put in a lot of time and energy on this, I want to thank you because I learned from you. I still learn from you. I'm not... I have not been knocked off my course or off my mission. I wrote my book. I'm not trying to push my book. I know you don't want to buy the book. I bought everybody else's. Nope. But I just want to thank you for all your work. I'm talking to the people that I talk to and the people that don't. So keep up the good work, you guys. And I just want you to think about some of the things that I just said. I hope I don't cause too much confusion. But like I said, I'm going to come back real soon and talk a little bit further about what I believe is happening and what I see is happening. Okay, so until next time, I hope you guys show some love for one another and definitely for yourself. Peace.